Welcome back to Retro Wednesday at the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the 1986 Tonka Steel Monsters toy line. Now, this is a pretty fun and cool toy line because it does feel like it's Mad Max, when we never got a Mad Max toy line. But I'm going to break this up into two sections of the video. The first section is going to be the stuff that I have in front of me because we're going to do the whole toy line. The rest is going to be pictures of the other vehicles. Now, I'm not getting the other vehicles are big. They're awesome, they're cool, but I have no place to display that much, and so with that, it's still going to be fun to enjoy from afar. But I'm talking about what I have here, and we're going to get into talking about Steel Monsters from Tonka coming up. So getting into this, I'm going to start out with Metal Face. I'm going to do the size comparison, and as you can see, he's about a 3.75 inch figure. Here's a G.I. Joe that's a little taller, and then a reaction figure about the same height. You know, the hat makes it go a little higher, but kind of getting an idea of size and scale. When it comes to styling, it looks like the N2 toys, I think it was a 2002 toy line. I can't remember off the top of my head, but looking at the styling, it looks a whole lot like Humongous, but he's not Humongous. Humongous is actually Humongous, but yeah, if you're chasing down true Mad Max, go with N2 toys. Well, that's the only option, aside from these. Alright, so looking at this guy, Metal Face, looks pretty good. Now, the first four I'm going to show you, I think, are Series 1, and then the second set of four, I think, are Series 2. And that is what somebody told me somewhere along the way, but this guy is pretty cool. 5 points of articulation with the head side to side. He does have that face mask on there. He's got this strap. He's got a tattoo that looks like a eagle, butterfly, or something going on in there. I'm not really sure what that's supposed to be, but half eagle, half butterfly, I don't know. He does have some wrist cuffs, some molded in guns or something, and some paintwear. So, pretty cool figure, though. 5 points articulation. There's not really a whole lot to talk about when it comes to this figure, but they do fit in these vehicles, and the vehicles are made big, so that's why they are this scale. But let's get into looking at the next one. Here we go with Half Track, which is one of the more common ones, which is why I kind of put them in as like a Series 1 or a Wave 1. I think it just all came in one year and went in one year, but it was still pretty cool that it came and went. So this guy here is a little more visually interesting when it comes to his clothing out of most of these characters, because he has some yellow in there, some blues, he's got these brown straps. He does have whatever you call this. I actually looked up a facial hair guide so I could have correct facial hair, but I didn't for him. So what do you call those? Those chops or something? But that's an interesting kind of mustache he has going on right there. And the back of him, it does look pretty clean with the blue and the brown. And I think his boots, are they the same color as the rest of them? So just molded in that blue. But yeah, he is a little more visually interesting. He's one of these cheaper ones. Most of these Wave ones can be found for $7 to $20 each. And so pretty easy to snag them up, which is why you'll see I have some extras for the Enforcer Jeep. So next up we have Talon, and I believe Talon is a good guy. I actually don't know all of the history on these guys. I just know the names. Well, read them off a list, match them up to the picture. So he's got something on the side of his head that looks like kind of bird claws. Get the lighting on that, but so that's interesting. He's got this weird helmet. He's got a nice beard going on right there, and he's got a sort of a spiky kind of a vest he's wearing, some some orange accents, each color straight, some brown sort of clothing. So it is kind of cool. Definitely a Mad Max looking kind of guy, and he's got like a gun or something on the side there. So this is definitely one of the more common ones, but I do think he looks pretty cool and pretty tough and kind of fun. This one here is Wheel Boss, and another one that's pretty easy to get. I think you might want to have a few of him. He looks like he'd be in the Aliens movie. Like he's wearing kind of the Aliens get up, and that's kind of how they looked in the Aliens movie, which I don't know if he was inspired by that or not, because it came out 86, around that time frame. So pretty cool. So he's got this bulletproof vest, probably got a couple of guns or something, holstering something on there. He's got some goggles up here. So pretty interesting. These 5 POA action figures. This one's kind of really tight. He didn't get played with much, so you'll see the ones that got played with a lot. They're the favorites of the line. Got played with quite a bit, but He does look like someone that you would troop build, though. I would probably like to have a few of them. I don't think I even have an extra one of him, oddly enough, even though I see him pop up cheap now and then all the time. But anyway, this one here is Wheel Boss. So now we're getting to the ones that I was told were Series 2, but none of the checklists or anything out there says they're Series 2. And so with this one is Punk. Now, this one I think is the coolest of the bunch. He's got the mohawk, and it kind of gives you sort of the vibe of the Mad Max feel. Now, this one is pretty loose because evidently the coolest figure in the line to play with got played the heck out of. You know, I bet you most of them are like this. He has kind of a blue jumpsuit. Now, I heard there was a black variant, and I tried to look at all listings on eBay just today and just see if there's any that are out there that are black variants, and I don't see any black variants, but I heard there's a black suit variant or and the blue suit one, which is the most common. So all the ones that are on eBay that I saw look to have the blue suit, so maybe the black suit variant is not really a variant. Anyway, he did come packed with several vehicles, and almost all of these came packed with vehicles and on separate card backs, so multiple ways to get them back in 1986. And it seems like the only place to get them now is eBay, but no, I'm just joking. He does look cool, though. I do like how he has the silver belt, silver accents on the boots, and, of course, the mohawk. And I think it's kind of like a brownish color on the mohawk. But anyway, this one is Punk, and I think he is the most expensive toy figure in the toy line. And although he's expensive, it's kind of like the Yak Face syndrome. There's 6 of them on eBay right now. Next up, we have the only female, I think, in the toy line is Tigress, and she does look kind of cool. She is also visually interesting because of the fact she has all that blue in there. She is a smaller framed figure because she's a female, and another one that's hard to come by in the Series 2 that I think now it starts to make sense that the people said that these are Series 2. They really are Series 2. Now, looking at her face, it does kind of have like a manly look. She doesn't really have a very feminine face sculpt to her, and her hairstyle is... But I don't know, maybe living out there in the wastelands has roughed her up a bit. She's not as feminine as she used to be, but I do like all of the colors that go along with her. She looks like she's got a holster. Maybe she's got a gun. She's like, back off, bucko. I said no. And so with that, here is... Yeah, if you watch Mad Max, you know there's some pretty graphic scenes in there, which it's hard to make her stand. But anyway, this is Tigress. And one cool figure to have in the toy line, and a whole lot of fun to have at least one female character in a Mad Max-esque toy line, like Steel Monsters. Alright, so we're getting into this next one here. This guy is called Retro-Wed, and I believe I'm saying that right. I don't know a whole lot of people that collect this, so I'm just reading off of checklists and names and stuff, but I think he looks cool too. I like his red sunglasses. It looks like his hair is kind of 70s style, going crazy up there. And then he looks like he's got these shoulder straps, these chest straps on him that I'm not sure if they're supposed to like hold some sort of weaponry or something, or reload armor. But I mean, you would think it would be like armor straps, but they don't look like armor straps. But he's got kind of a burgundy brown pants on. He's got some red and black accents, black boots, red accents. And he's got a paint app here, so quite a few paint apps on this guy with a silver belt. But I think he does look pretty cool. Retread. None of these come with accessories, and I guess I should have said that from the get-go, but I think that makes it so much easier to collect this toy line, because you don't have to track down a whole bunch of weapons accessories that only came with one figure, and I like that. Retread. The last figure on here, he is not Robo. His name is Viking, and Viking is... He looks like kind of like a military dude. He's kind of like someone that came back from Nam, but was like, you know what? I still got some fighting to do for the country, so I'm going to do it now. Now, mine's not in the greatest of shape, and he has become an expensive figure, so anyhow, I'm pretty happy that I have him. He's a little bit loose. He was played with a lot. That big old beard of his, I think, really made kids excited. I don't even know. My head's not moving much. It does move, though. But he's got some camo pants, that blue shirt and the blue pants, the blue boots, and of course he's got some blue on some other things going on there. Pretty cool looking figure though. Man, this dude is in rough shape, but But hey, I'm better than paying the crazy prices. I know I got them cheap. I don't know. I bought them years ago, so I got them cheaper than they sell for now. But still, monsters, Viking, looking cool. So the only large-scale vehicle I have is one called the Enforcer, and this one is a Jeep. Now, my wife loves Jeeps, but she doesn't own a Jeep. She keeps saying she's going to buy one, and I keep saying why, because you're not going to be happy with it. Anyway, here we are with this Enforcer Jeep. It's kind of cool. You do have, I do have this gunning station up top here. Now, when you get these vehicles, you're going to find these guns are hard to get. There's almost always missing and almost never showing up for sale by themselves. So buying these complete is probably the best route to go if you're going to be collecting this line, and which is another reason I didn't really want to bother with them, because a lot of times the vehicles themselves cost more to ship than the vehicle, than the seller selling the vehicle. So it just felt like such a waste unless you're getting several at the same time, which I think is what a lot of people do. Or they just get them at toy shows or something, don't have to worry about paying $40 to ship one of these bad boys. But here it is from the side, ginormous tires on it. They are not rubber, thank goodness, because they would be breaking down. More to find out. There is one that has rubber treads, and well, two I think, but we'll be looking at that here in a bit. It says Enforcer, eat my dust. And they all have these kind of sayings on them and stuff, and it's all printed on it, so you know what the name of your vehicle is. It is Enforcer. Now, this one has something that's a little bit special, and you can remove this top part here, and you can see on the inside here. On the inside, there is room to house 3 figures. So I do have an extra green guy. He's in here driving, and 2 of these guys with the yellow chilling, and so that's how I figured to configure putting the figures in here. Now it looks like a 4-seater, but you can't really fit 2 figures in the back, so that's kind of how that goes. You got a steering wheel, that's kind of cool, and yeah, and a lot of times you find either this is missing or this top piece here is missing. So again, finding them complete is the best way to go. I got this one for $50. I think it was $50 and like 10 shipping or something, so it was like 65. So that wasn't bad for this guy, but he is the smaller of the vehicles. Just imagine the vehicles we're about to look at are literally twice as long. From what it appears, they're big, and so they make this thing look small, and this is quite big. I mean, I still have a Sergeant Slaughter, and I still have this right here, so you can kind of get an idea of how big they are. I mean, the wheel is the size of a figure. I also made a series of minis that do not fit figures in them, and it's kind of one of those things that they did back in the 80s. So they make the same thing, but smaller, but it still feels big enough and substantial, so you're not buying... I think they might have even made them as like Hot Wheels, but this one here is called Top Gunner, and he's missing a back piece, and I will show a picture when I do the pictorial segment of this, but this... I don't know what else it's supposed to do. I got it real cheap. I think it was just $15 or something. So getting this stuff, I picked up the cheap ones that I could, just have a representation. But I mostly wanted the figures in this, although the vehicles are really amazing. So let's get into that segment now. Okay, so we're going to get into looking at the rest of these vehicles. This is the 5 large-scale vehicles that they had. There was also this 5-piece playset down at the bottom for $12 that had... Looks like a truck and some smaller vehicles that went with it. But looking at this, the big focus are these big vehicles. And we already looked at the Enforcer Jeep. That thing was $16 according to this catalog. And then the Jeep next to it that's radio controlled, we're going to be looking at that also. But that thing was $30, so twice the price because it was radio controlled. But how many times did you want a radio controlled vehicle that held a 3.75-inch figure? Okay, so this is Bad Guy Driver Talon races this Steel Monster blaster pickup with driver-mounted 35mm cannon swivels and elevates for $19.99. This thing is pretty cool. I like this one. Actually, I'm going to be honest, I like every one of these vehicles. If I had the space to display them, I'd go after all of them. But one of the things I want to point out is that gun that mounts up there is usually either missing, hard to get, and then the roll bar is usually missing. Now, I don't think it does anything other than just roll around as a big vehicle. Now, they're made of metal. I guess I should have talked about that when I talked about my Jeep. But they have metal, and it's painted metal. If that paint scrapes and scratches off, a lot of this is rusted. So you want to look for rust on it. And you also want to look to see that all the wheels are there and everything is working with that. But this is a cool looking one, and I guess I was wrong. This dude is a bad guy. Alright, so next up we have Good Guy Half Track turned this hauler into an awesome Steel Monsters Destroyer. This battle machine is equipped with 2 removable guns that are also movable. And it's 20 inches by 7 by 9 inches, $25, $24.99. Now, some things about this one. It already talks about the 2 guns. I think they are different guns. They're not the same exact gun. So there's a challenge. And then it has treads. And I've noticed a lot of the cheap ones don't have any treads on them. So you could score one with no treads cheap. Maybe get some repro treads or something. Just find a tread that would match it close enough. But it is another one. It's made of metal. And I see a lot of these rusted out. For whatever reason. Probably because this one's so big. Look how huge it is. It is huge. It is big. It is massive. I think it seats 2 in the front. And then you can have 2 figures each mounting one of the cannons, manning the cannon, I believe. I don't think there's any foot pegs in there or anything, but you just kind of lean them up against it to make them look like they are manning it. But this is a cool one here. I have to admit, I like all of them, and so, Destroyer. Next up, we have the Bad Guy Metal Face, built the Steel Monsters Masher Grater to plow over everything in his path. It's equipped with a cannon and a movable blade that rotates in 5 positions. And this is pretty cool. It is $19.99, so this was one of the lower price point ones. It still looks really big, though, and a lot of die-cast metal in it. And it does kind of look like a tractor. That's just souped-up tractor. I've seen these missing the parts, the gray parts on it, and yeah, it just looks like a tractor. So you've got the tractor exhaust, and you've got giant tractor tires, which I don't know. I guess I should look a little closer and see if this actually, if they reuse these tires on a lot of them, because they're so big and they look very similar. But this is pretty cool, and I don't know exactly how the blade operates and moves around because I've never handled one of these, but this one is a lot of fun. Now I do see the gun missing, and like I said, the gray parts missing, and probably that piece right in the middle next to Metalhead himself come up missing. Bad Guy Metalface drives this Steel Monsters bomber Jeep, battery powered with 4 speeds. 2 forward, reverse neutral, and missile disguised as a switch, and includes a hand-operated working winch for realistic battle play. Now, I always thought this was remote controlled, but according to this, it's just battery powered, meaning that you just flip the switch on and make it go forward or back or neutral. So that's good information to have. Now, I do notice that there's a lot of stuff to find missing on this. There's that rear gun, there's the front, 2 front guns, I believe, and a top hatch. I think all of that are pieces that come up missing on this one, or anything that has to do with that front winch. So, with that, this one is the hardest one to get complete, or hardest one to get in general, even though now there's a ton. Like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago when I was collecting this, there was only 1 on eBay, and now there's like 4. So, 4 to choose from in various price points and conditions, but this one is kind of cool. I don't think it's the coolest one of all of them, but I think that it has that battery-powered gimmick, which makes it different. And so, anyway, with that, Metalface does have 2 vehicles. Okay, so this is the one that I have called Top Gunner. This is a better picture of it. This shows that there's a camper part on the back, and that it has a gun turret mounted to the top of it. So, that's what it does for fun. It shoots, and you can't put figures in it, but I figure we'll show these small ones anyway. Then we get into this Metal Maniac. This one is called Little Destroyer, not Metal Maniac, Little Destroyer. And it is a smaller version of Destroyer, doesn't have treads, and only has 4 wheels. So it's just a smaller version. But it looks pretty cool, and it is interesting. You see this most of the time with just everything missing, and it just looks like a pickup truck missing a bed. And that's pretty much what it is. You find it loose and missing everything. But Little Destroyer, kind of cool. Now this one is Metal Maniac. I have never seen one for sale. I see this, and I'm like, has it ever really been for sale? So I don't ever see one. But maybe I'm not looking at it right or looking it up right. But this one here looks like a bulldozer, and kind of like we saw a tractor turned into something. It's a bulldozer looking thing turned into it. So it still looks like a whole lot of fun. A little vehicle. I don't know where there's no figure. That's obviously no figure goes in this, because it is a mini version, but does look kind of cool. And I'm sure you could like have your figures man that cannon, so it could be part of the world. Next up we got Mud Dog, which is another one that looks kind of cool. It has a little miniature motorcycle that goes with it. I think that your figures might be able to ride that. I'm not sure. But another one, I never see it complete. I never see anything but just the bare bones vehicle of this. And it's got a gun on the top. Maybe it's 2 guns on the top and then the roll bar. So not a whole lot of information on this guy here. These small ones are actually harder to get than the bigger ones. Lastly, I want to get into some unproduced stuff. This is the Barbarian with retread. Watch somebody say this is Retro-Wed or something. Retro-Wed? Nah, man, it's Retro-Wed. You said it wrong this whole video. I'm gonna set you straight now. Well, set me straight in the unproduced section. I don't know what this is. This looks like an airplane turned into a vehicle, added some wheels to it, and some sort of a missile launcher. So that is cool. But as you can see, this is a big one made for the figures. So I kind of like this. I like these unreleased concepts, but obviously it wasn't selling well enough to go to a wave. I think wave 3. I think that battery powered one was the wave 2. Anyway, getting into the next one, this is called the Pulverizer with Tigress, and they wanted to show it had a rocket launcher. It has the same rocket launcher as the other one, more or less. But anyhow, cross weaponry would be kind of cool, so that collectors down the road have a better shot at getting a complete one. Anyway, this does look pretty interesting. Pulverizer. It says it on the side of it, and this does look sort of like a cab over semi, kind of converted into some sort of a crazy machine. But another better way to get these Series 2 later series figures, and I like that idea. And then we're going to get into the last one. The last one is called Wrecker with the Viking. So another way to get this figure. And see, I think they had planned on putting these out, and those figures would have been easier to get. But anyway, I don't see one of these that was packed with Punk. Anyway, this does kind of give me the vibe of that Enforcer Jeep, but instead of a Jeep, it was like a van or something. And it's got a gun on the top. It's got some armor covering up the top there. It's got some shark paint on it. So, and I'm not sure if that thing in the front is like a bulldozer, but the way they have the dirt, it looks like it's supposed to like be a bulldozer kind of thing. So the wheels on it are big, but if you look at it, they're not as big as regular wheels, so it looks like it has treads. Hard to tell from these pictures, but anyway, this is what could have been if the line continued. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this look at the 1986 Tonka Steel Monsters toy line, and this toy line's kind of fun. I would like to see Mad Max come back in some way, shape, or form. Here there's a problem with the licensing. I'm even finding out now from GameStop employees that there are no more Funko Pops, and Funko Pop seems to be able to get the license to anything for Mad Max. So with that, collecting these old figures here, or the Into Toys toy line from 1999 or 2000, those are probably all we're going to be able to get. So anyway, what do you think about this toy line? Did you have this back in the day? Do you have this now? Like and subscribe to Dear Hanger Out.
In the wasteland, staying alive is all that counts.
To survive, you drive.
The bomber, mean, motorized madness with powerful weapons, rugged battle armor, and the evil metal face. Hit the secret switch and shift into 3 forward. 4 heavily armed steel vehicles with action figures battling for survival. On the side of justice, Wheel Boss and Enforcer, and Half-Track and Destroyer.
Drive.